Hey, it's Tom Sinclair coming to you with another episode of Streaming Idiots. Your chief idiot here. It's going to be a pretty cool show today. We're going to take a look at, let me not let the cat out of the bag quite yet. We'll be right back with the show. Oh, there we go. Still trying to get this little intro done. Need a video that I can just press go on and not have to do it all manually. Welcome to Streaming Idiots, another episode today. Streaming Idiots is our show where basically we're saying, hey, number one, streaming is a lot of fun. If you approach it with a light-hearted attitude, when problems come, they're a lot easier to solve, because they can be not problems so much as challenges. And if you've done this for any period of time, you know there are plenty of opportunities for challenges. Things that just don't work the way they're supposed to, or, golly, they worked perfectly last time and I did XYZ, and now I'm doing XYZ and they don't work. What's the story? But I was thinking about this the other day. This is the golden age of live video streaming. And most times when there's a golden age of something, the people that are in the middle of it don't appreciate the fact that it's the golden age. They just think it is what it is, that, this is life. And it's only in retrospect, sometimes decades later, sometimes just years later, that you look back on it and you say, boy, that was a great time. It was an exciting time. And I'm thinking, especially when we're talking in terms of live video streaming, and the software that makes that happen, software like VidBlaster and Wirecast and vMix are what I would call the top three, the big guys at this point. VidBlaster out of Holland, Wirecast out of the U.S., and I think maybe there's an English, United Kingdom connection point there somewhere, and then of course vMix out of Australia. So this is the golden age. Those three softwares and the developers behind them are really pushing each other. And that's a really good thing. Competition is a good thing. I like competition. It number one, it's exciting. It can be a lot of fun. It can be disappointing when you lose, whatever losing is in this sense. I don't know that there is a loss. There's oh golly, this guy's created this new feature, and so I need to have at least the same thing, if not better, and another feature that he doesn't have. I have been a VidBlaster user, full disclosure here now, I've been a VidBlaster user since early on in my streaming career. I started streaming in 2007, discovered VidBlaster in, I think, 2009, and became a VidBlaster reseller shortly after that. Have recently become a vMix reseller, and have got my application in with Wirecast to be a Wirecast reseller. And the concept is that each program, I think, really does have its strengths and its weaknesses. And depending on what you're doing and what hardware you have that you are stuck with and have to use, what cameras, what PCs, those kinds of things, different software does some jobs better than others, and works with some PC and camera configurations better than others. So let's go on this great exploration and find out. Now, I've got, again, a thorough knowledge in VidBlaster. I'm learning Wirecast. I'm learning vMix. And so I thought, well, why not take you guys along with me while I discover some of the stuff that's going on in this software. So what I'd like to do is sort of unwrap vMix for you today. And we're using now you talk about full disclosure. We're using VidBlaster to produce this program, that is, do the graphics and the overlays and switch cameras and put in the fancy background and that kind of stuff and do screen captures. We're using Wirecast to capture all that video. VidBlaster sends one video signal over to Wirecast, and so Wirecast captures the video and combines it with the audio from our mixer and streams it to Decast, and Wirecast is also recording it. We also have vMix running at the same time on the same PC. Now this is 3 softwares on the same PC, and vMix is let's see if we can get vMix out here. Would I like to close vMix? No, I don't want to close vMix. I just want to minimize vMix there and see if we can get this overlay off. Yeah, we've been having a little trouble today with things kind of locking up, so we're going to have to let's see. Bear with me for just a second, and we're going to freeze this stream for just a second, and then we're going to see if we can't unfreeze it so that we can get our vMix up and running. I think I may be stressing one PC more than it can handle, but that is kind of my theme, is to say, you know, one guy, one PC, one awesome broadcast. So let's see if we can get back into that again. And yeah, there we go. We're unfrozen. We've got vMix set up as a screen capture in VidBlaster. So let's pull that up. And it doesn't want to pull up. Let's try this one more time, shall we? Yeah, we may be stressing our PC too much by trying to run all these softwares at the same time. There we go. Okay, there we are. So this is what vMix looks like. You've got a preview monitor over here on the left and a program monitor here on the right. And in between, you've got some controls that allow you to take whatever's in preview and send it over to program. Your sources end up appearing down here at the bottom. You can see the green source and the red source are blank currently, and each one of those has a series of commands and settings below it. Right now, nothing is populated. And the way that we really start is that we want to, we've got to take resources like cameras and mixers and videos and overlays and all those kinds of things that we want to combine together in our broadcast. And those are considered in vMix terms. Those are considered inputs. So down here in the bottom left-hand corner is a command to add inputs. And we'll press that, and it pops up a window that has a bunch of different a bunch of different input options. We've got video, audio, image, photos, PowerPoint, DVD, capture, desktop capture, audio input, flash RTMP, XAML, video delay, title, color, list, virtual set, and stream. Well, let's start with something simple. Let's start with a camera. I mean, that's what we want to do. Let's start with a camera, and I think that would be here under capture. So let's see if we have a capture device available. A Logitech HD Pro Webcam C920. I've actually got 2 of them. I think the second one is free. Let's see if that will work. We're going to select a resolution of 1280 by 720, 60i or 30p, and we'll leave everything else as default at the moment, and we'll click OK. And yes, indeed, we have a camera input, and you see that went straight into program, and we didn't really select this first small let's call it a module down here for lack of a better term. We didn't select it. It was just automatically populated because it was the first blank one. And let's add another input. So we're going to click Add Input. And we are going to go to Video, and we're just going to select a video file. Now, I've already been in here, and so it's populated this with some videos already. And I'm going to say, let's use the wildlife WMV file that comes with Windows. So we're going to say OK on that. And that's going to populate our next window, our next module down here. And it tells us wildlife.wmv above it. And we can see that this is also put into the preview window. We can play it by pressing the play button. And you can see that it pops into action immediately. The volume meter on the left tells you that we've got some sort of audio going. And we'll get to that in just a second. And let's see, let's turn the loop function on so it'll loop, because we want to keep something active in front of us. And now we'll draw our attention to our transition buttons here in the center. Cut being probably the easiest, where we can cut directly from one to the other. And now I can cut back. If I had more than one source, whatever source would be here in the preview would automatically move to the program. I can do a fade. I can do a fly. I can do a zoom. And if I can click the drop down on any one of these, you can see that there's a whole list of different ones that I could do. We'll just put in cross zoom for fun, and you can see it cross zooms. And so as you become familiar with those, you can find the ones that are right for whatever it is you want to do. There's one down here at the bottom called FTB, and the FTB would be fade to black. And it is faded to black now. It doesn't appear like it here, but on the stream, I'm told, and on the recording, that you are faded to black. And so we'll unfade out of black and go back to our video. We can also add, let's add another input here. Add. And we want to get some audio. So it looks like there are two different audio options. One is audio here, which appears to be files, audio files we can drive, and the other is audio input down here that allows us to select things like mixers. So let's take the audio device, and we are going to select the microphone 2 right here as our audio source. That would be my mic right here. And you can see that mixer, or excuse me, that volume meter pops up. We'll take off the fade to black in response to my audio. So you see that is my audio. If we were to click that, for some reason it sends that to the preview window. Now there's no video or photo associated with it, so I think that's just one of those things in a program that you just shouldn't do, is you shouldn't send this to audio, because if you cut to it now it's cut to the program module, and that's not particularly effective. Notice as we did that it did pause the video here. If we, let's see, if we do a cut, it'll send that video back, and then let's put the Logitech back into preview. There we go. There we go. Now, there are a series of other commands here in the top left corner, the top right corner, the bottom left corner, and the bottom right corner. And those allow you to do lots of other different things. Most of them are setups. You can do your recording and your setup here. There's an external output here, streaming here, playlist, multi-quarter, which is your individual camera ISO, overlays, and I think there is a series of keystrokes that allows me to bring up an audio mixer. Let's see if that's something I can get to a different way. Nope. This is a settings menu that allows you lots of kind of behind the scenes settings. And I'll have to look more closely as to exactly how to bring up that little audio mixer. It doesn't look like these have tags to them that tell you what they are when you mouse over them. Let's press 1 and see what happens. These are shortcuts, okay. And that is statistics. All right, that's interesting. This one is a speaker icon. Maybe that's our mixer. Yeah, there we go. So now we can see that we've got all of our audio inputs are now individually controlled here in the software. And so this would be an input from the video that's wildlife, that has audio to it, and an input that's my microphone. And we can combine, we can send those to the master. I believe we click the little speaker icon right here, and we can see that now my audio is sort of mimicked in terms of volume by what's in the master. In fact, let's see if we can drag this one over to the right. Nope, can't drag them. Can't move them around. They kind of are where they are. But I do have the ability to control my audio volume independently of what my mixer would be. I can also control my wildlife video file volume independently of what might be on my mixer. And then I have a master volume control. So if you're using a separate mixer, it might be a tad confusing to have both a software mixer on the screen and then a physical mixer sitting on your work surface. I know when I was playing with this earlier, I was getting a little bit of feedback on it, so apparently I didn't have things quite configured properly. Let's take that one off. We can send the wildlife audio out. In fact, let me bring that channel up and let's see what we hear. So I can take that out. If I put my audio in, now is when I end up with a little bit of delay. And I think that's because I'm sending essentially two sources of audio to the system. So we need to obviously do some more work on that one to figure out exactly how that should work. We'll go back and forth there, and you can see the wildlife audio has now gone out because the wildlife video has paused at that point. Probably one of the sexiest parts of this program is this bar down the middle that allows us to do all sorts of different transitions. Each one of these three buttons right here, each one of those four buttons right there can be set for any number. We can do fade, we can do zoom, we can do, I'm just selecting the next one down, white, and then slide. And so we can pick any number. There we go. And then we can slide out. And then we can pick fly, we'll pick cross zoom, we'll pick fly rotate, and we'll pick cube. So if we go to fly, it flies in from the top left. Cross zoom, that's kind of a nice effect. Fly rotate and cube. And then the other options after that would be cube zoom. Let's see, vertical wipe, vertical slide, and stingers I think have to do with something else, but let's try them here. We've got cube zoom, there you go, vertical wipe, vertical slide, and stinger. And the stinger actually allows you to insert another file in between the transition from the preview to the program. And so there would be a stinger or a video in between. So if you were doing, for example, a instant replay in a sporting event, you would have a stinger that went in between the live shot and then the instant replay shot. And then when you went out from the instant replay back to the live, there'd be another stinger there that would be sort of the transition. And that would be the signal to folks at home that you were transitioning from live to instant replay and then back from instant replay to live. We can add a whole slew of inputs. We can add something from a DVD, we can add PowerPoints, we can add photos. Not sure what the difference between photos and images is. Oh, images are PNG files. Okay, that's easy then. Oh, check that. Images are PNG files and JPEGs. Photos is where you can add a whole album or a whole file. Check that. A whole folder as a slideshow. So that could be kind of cool. Capture was our cameras. Desktop capture allows us to capture the entire desktop of a computer on our network. Audio input we've looked at. Flash RTMP would be a flash video file or, excuse me, an RTMP stream from a remote computer. Some of these others will have to go in. Video delay, I think, is part of their instant replay system. Titles are kind of a built-in lower third generator. Let's see if we can pick one here. And we'll say OK. And it builds the title and allows us to put in Tom Sinclair is the headline, and the description is going to be Streaming Idiots. And we'll have that, and we can send that to preview. If we send that to program, it just sits out there in program, and that's not really the way it's intended to work. Let's bring those back. We'll put that one there. But if we wanted to have Tom Sinclair, I believe we can click here. Let's see, do we have to assign that there? There we go. And so this will appear as one of 4 possible overlays in that. And as we cut back, the overlay stays with it. There is a way to configure it so that the overlay will stay with the camera. And we'll have to get into that a little bit more deeply and figure out exactly how to make that work. But as you can see, there's some real promise here, and from what I hear from folks that use it, that they really like vMix. It tends to be kind of light in terms of its CPU usage. It seems to be pretty flexible. Like other, again, this is a whole new industry, and these products are more different in some ways than they are alike. A lot like the automotive industry, at least in the U.S. when it first started, where you could tell a Chevy because a Chevy had a certain look. You could tell a Ford because it had a certain look. You could tell a Plymouth because it had a certain look. And they were more different than they were alike. And now, 100 years later, those cars, if driving down the street, you wouldn't know which was which because they all have the same shape. Everybody's going for aerodynamics with a few styling elements to try to distinguish them, but it wasn't the big styling elements that you saw in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. that really distinguished a car, so you could tell what it is driving down the street. In some ways, vMix, Wirecast, and VidBlaster are still in that early time where they're easy to distinguish. You're not going to confuse one for the other, very likely. Now, I think vMix does look a tad like a TriCaster, at least at first glance, but I suspect the operation is significantly different. I haven't played with it enough to know. But enough to say that it's going to be an exciting time the next several years to watch these three softwares compete with each other. Perhaps a fourth one will arise on the side somewhere, somebody that's got some deep pockets like a Microsoft or an Adobe, somebody else like that might come in late to the party, but have had a good look at what's out there and try to pick the best of each one. For example, if they wanted to pick one of the strengths from VidBlaster, it would be its ease of use, the ability to have modules that move around. You can place them on the screen wherever you want them. They might pick from vMix its low CPU usage. They might pick from Wirecast its ability to have its own encoder. vMix and VidBlaster use the Flash Media Live encoder, which is a separate piece of free software available from Adobe. Wirecast uses its own proprietary encoder that is one of the ways that it is able to be kind of light on CPU usage. That and plus it dumps a lot of the graphical work that can be done by the CPU. It drops that over to the video card's GPU. So there are strengths and less than strengths in each one of the softwares, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they come out. I think if I'm standing on the sidelines and I'm cheering, I'm actually cheering for all three teams, because I think the fact that all three of them, or at least I hope that all three of them will be successful, because if they do, they'll continue to push each other, and we'll continue to see great new features and great polished old features and great improvements to old features that will make however we're using these products, it'll make it easier and more fun for us to do it. And we may find that as processors get faster and faster and hard drives get faster and faster, that these softwares get better and better in the ability to use those resources. And you never know, there could be some sort of game-changing technology coming down the road that's going to change how we do all this. Not sure what that might look like. Everybody that's bringing out a new product says, "Oh, this is a game changer." But it'll be interesting to see if we see some of those game changers. If there's some sort of wireless technology that comes out that allows us to do a wireless connection to cameras, HD, for $50 a camera. That would be a game changer. Suddenly, everybody would be putting HD cameras all over the place. But you never know. Anyway, it's been fun to bring you this sort of quick and dirty review of vMix. I'm Tom Sinclair. You can reach me, Tom, at streamingidiots.com. Would love to talk with you, answer any questions you might have. If I can help you with the purchase of any one of the softwares, please let me know, and we can do that. We are providing support for all three. Although, I have to say at this point, we're having to ramp up on vMix and Wirecast, but I suspect that'll be kind of fun. It's like learning a second and third language. They say once you learn that first language, the rest of them come easily. So that's what we'll be counting on. We're delighted to have you with us today. If you joined us in chat, hang around for the post show. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll send you information the next time we post one of these. Oh, and if you're waiting for this to be posted, we record these live on Wednesdays, but we post them on Fridays. We do post our other show, that VidBlaster Guy, on Wednesdays, so that gives you a little time to watch that one before the next one pops down the pike. Tom Sinclair, it's been great to have you with us today, and I hope you'll come back for another episode of Streaming Idiots at some point in the future.